Welcome to Immigration USA with Kathia. My name is Kathia Quiros. I am an immigration lawyer in the United States, and today I am here to tell you the latest news about the registry process that the government is announcing today for all immigrants in the United States over the age of 14. So I am trying to start these also on TikTok, so please bear with me. These news are really, really tough. I am so sorry that we are going through all of this, but today I will try to explain to you what is going on and how is that we can prepare for this. So let's start. On January 20, 2025, President Trump issued an executive order requiring the Department of Homeland Security to establish a registry process. And you are probably asking, what is a registry process, Kathia? Well, it's in 1940, we have to go through history. In 1940, after the World War II, the government realized that they didn't know who was inside the United States, and they were very opposed to the Japanese. So they created this law. It's a law in the immigration code that forces people to register, to provide their fingerprints after the age of 14 years old. So that period in the 1940s was horrible. A lot of Japanese families ended up being detained just for being Japanese. It was racial profiling at its best. So after that passed, we kept the law, but we use it to keep people who would receive the green card before 14, and then after the age of 14, we would call those kids saying, okay, you turned 14, now we have to fingerprint you. So that's how we've been using this law for years and years. Then in 2001, there was a terrorist attack in New York in September 11, 2001. And the attack was done by a Muslim terrorist group. So at that point, they invoked this law again. They invoked this law from the 1940s, and they called on Muslim men to register again. And we went through that, and thousands of men registered, and some of them were deported. But they couldn't make one deportation based on terrorist activity. So they didn't find any terrorists, but they did this registration. And now, this is the third time they're going to use it. Now the government is asking all immigrants in the United States to register. Now, some of them, they are saying, some of them have already registered and don't even know it. And today I'm going to tell you who has already registered and doesn't know it. So if you are in one of these categories, this whole registration announcement is not for you. If you have already registered, then you don't have to worry about any of these. This is not for you. Most people who are here in the United States legally don't have to do anything because they have already registered, okay? But if you are not in this group of people that I'm going to announce today, then you will have to register, and we will talk about how this process is going to be, and if it's okay to register or not. We will have to evaluate that. Today, I am just telling you what has transpired on the announcement, right? So this law, as I said before, it's from the 1940s. It's not something that it's new. It's not a law that the president has created now. The law exists. And so it's being used now again for the third time. So who should not register? Well, legal permanent residents. They don't need to register. They already registered. People who have an employment authorization. If you have an employment authorization, you already registered. If you were ever placed in deportation proceedings, if you went to court, to immigration court, you don't need to register. If you entered the United States with an I-94, and what is an I-94? An I-94, many years ago, it used to be a white card that you would get every time you would enter the United States from any other country, and the Border Patrol officer would give you a permit to enter the United States. That is called an I-94. So if you received an I-94, then you don't have to register. There are some I-94s that you received in the United States. For example, when you get a U visa, T visa, a VAWA, when you get TPS, you receive an I-94, then you don't need to register. You already registered. So far, so good. If you are understanding what I'm saying, please put a thumbs up. Let me know that you're here and that you are understanding what I'm trying to go through. That will help me. And please share, because we need to share the information to all the immigrant community. My intent is to inform the immigrant community and to try for all of us to do the best that we can do to improve our lives in the United States. So let me So these registration requirements are not for legal permanent residents, are not for people with an employment authorization, are not for people with an I-94, or for people who received a visa and entered with a visa. So if you received a visa and entered with a visa, you don't need to register. If you were in deportation proceedings, then you don't need to register. Let me see. If you were paroled in the United States, you don't need to register. Paroled under 212D5, like if you entered on CBP1, you were paroled in the United States, you don't need to register. At least not if the document that they gave you to enter says 212D5. If you don't have the green card yet, but you have applied for the green card through the form I-485 or through the form I-687, I-691, I-700, you don't need to register. And if you received a border crossing card, you don't need to register, okay? So all these people don't need to register. Now, you probably are asking me who must register. Well, if you entered with any type of visa or green card and before the age of 14 and you are now 14 and 30 days, you must register. Let me repeat, if you entered with any type of visa or a green card before the age of 14 and now you are 14 years old and 30 days, you must register, okay? Now, who is not registered and needs to register? Anybody who is in the United States and it's over 14 and has never registered before, according to this announcement from the government, must register. And that includes who? Who has never registered before? I'm going to give you the list of the people who must register, okay? So anybody who is undocumented in the United States who entered without inspection needs to register. So if you are undocumented because you entered the United States undocumented, you must register. If you are Canadian and you entered the United States with visa waiver and you have never registered because you never applied for any type of visa, you must register. If you applied for any type of benefits with immigration, but you never got an employment authorization, then you must register. In other words, if you are 14 years old and 30 days, and you are inside the United States, undocumented, you must register. Unless you fall into one of the categories that I listed, that means that you have already registered even if you didn't know. And there are some people who were in deportation proceedings before and now are undocumented. you don't need to register. If you entered with a tourist visa and you overstay, you don't need to register. If you had a green card and then you lost it for whatever reason, you don't need to register. So there are a lot of people who don't need to register. But if you are undocumented and you've been living undocumented in the United States, you must register. So when and how are you going to register? Well, right now, the government is saying we are going to wait for instructions. We are going to let you know how to register. All we can say, all the government says right now, it's open a USCIS account so that when that form comes out, you will be able to use it and register using that form online. Is this legal? Well, we don't know. We don't know. They are basing this announcement on a law that exists. And in order to do this, the government has announced this invasion of immigrants, which all immigrants know there's no invasion, right? But they are doing all of these in the name of national security. So most likely there's going to be a lawsuit against this. And we're going to have to see in the courts whether this is legal or not. In the meantime, right, the announcement was done today, and all lawyers are still, studying, investigating whether this is legal or not, and whether immigrants really have to do this. So we'll see. Right now, I'm just giving you the news, and I am telling you that no matter what is that you're going to do, it is very important that you consult with a lawyer, that you talk to an immigration lawyer that will tell you what are the risks, what is that you need to do, and how is that you're going to do it. Okay, so thank you for being here. Let me see if I have any questions. Let me see. What happened with people who cross the border and sign to go back? Do they need to register? If they are not here in the United States, no, they don't. This is only for people who are here in the United States. If they signed to go back and they took them back, then they're not here. They don't have to register. When do people need to register? They haven't said yet. Today, they just announced that they said as of February 25, they must register. But then in the next paragraph, they say, we are going to produce forms and we are going to let you know. So they're not giving us a specific date. In the meantime, you can start creating your USCIS account. Any other questions, guys? Let me see if I have any questions in YouTube. I have an I-94 from 1997. Do I have to register? No, Antonio. If you already have an I-94, you don't have to register. Is there any way of checking if we are registered or not? No, Alex. You have to know if you fall into any of those categories. For people who did parole in place, did fingerprints, but cases got canceled? No, they are not registered. What are the risks and benefits of registering and not registering? Well, I got to tell you what are the risks. The most important risk is that they are threatening, the government is threatening, and it's saying, if you do not register, we're going to issue criminal charges against you. So if you know how right now, if you're undocumented, but you have not committed any crimes and you have never been deported, if ICE gets a hold of you, you are not going to be deported because you are going to say, I am not signing anything. I don't want voluntary departure. I want to see a judge. And what's going to happen is ICE is going to have to release you because they need that space in the jails for criminals. You are not a criminal and you know your rights, so they're going to have to let you go. But if you don't register, they're going to put criminal charges on you. And the moment you have criminal charges, you're not going to go anywhere and you're not going to be able to be released. So what they're saying is, if you don't register, we're gonna really, really, really screw you. So that's the risk. Benefits, I don't know. At this moment, I don't know of any benefit of registering other than the government knowing where you are, where you live, and what you do. So they want to know who is here. Exactly. That's all they want. They want to know who is here, where they are, and I think it would be a wonderful idea if we would register everybody to promote an immigration reform. If we would tell people, okay, it's over. We don't want to have anybody living under the shadows, right? And let's do this registration. That way we can know where is everybody, and then let's do something whereby you can apply for an employment authorization or something to be legal. I'm sure people would come out from everywhere and say, here I am, and this is my life, and I'm a good person. But the way they're doing it, it's through fear. And I don't think through fear we're going to go very long way, because, of course, people are afraid, and they have kids, and they have responsibilities in this country. So this is not the way to do it, definitely. I can't fix the papers because he got caught 2 times on the border, and I have a son in the army. Maria, if whoever you're talking about entered after living more than 1 year in the United States and came back undocumented, you're right, that person has a permanent bar. So it's a very tough situation. I entered the United States in 2016 with tourist visa without an I-94, and I overstayed. If you had a visa, then you may not need to register because you already obtained a visa. So the way I read it, you shouldn't. People who enter on the border and sign to get out and live here already for 25 years. Maria, I will have to see a FOIA. In this case, I think you need to do a FOIA and see how is that process was done at the border. Thank you to all of you who put a heart into this program, a like, who share. That's all I ask for my time, trying to share the information and explain it in the best possible way. So these are the news for today. I will try to explain it more through posts, and as soon as I find out more information. This channel started last week. This is my channel in English. I have been doing it for many years in Spanish, but I understand that more and more of the English immigrant community needs to find out the information. So hopefully you will share it and help me spread the word. It's Immigration USA with Kathia. And if you can see it in Spanish, well, go to Inmigrando con Kathia in all the social media channels. Thank you very much for being here today and for sharing the information. Bye.